Welcome to the Steve Wilmot Show, presented by Aria Health for 1490 WVCB. I'm Sean Lerman, here with head coach of the Neshaminy Redskins, Steve Wilmot, as we get set for week 1 of the regular season. The Redskins going up to play Montclair High School. Should be an exciting way to start the season. Coach, it's been a good offseason from all indications so far. Any players specifically that you've seen in camp that have maybe done a little bit more than you expected going into the offseason?
I don't know if it's any more than I expected. A couple of people had real good camps. Zach Treadway looked very strong on both sides of the ball. Hunter Kelly, Billy Ritchie, anchoring down the offensive line. Dalton Fox is doing a pretty good job at linebacker, as is Kyle Smith and Jack Spengler. So I'd have to say, really, there's really no surprises. In the 2 scrimmages, Zach Treadway has just been pulling in every ball close to him. So I'm going to have to say Zach probably had the best camp of anyone in the camp, but there's a lot of people. I mean, Denzel Hughes ripped off a big run. We handed him the ball off in a scrimmage on Thursday, and he scampered 50 yards with the ball. So I'd have to say all of our guys who we were counting on are right there for us.
A lot of those guys you mentioned are players who were big parts of the team last year. The veterans on the team, even though some of them are still on the younger side. How have they been as far as bringing up some of the younger players?
Good. We have a new offensive lineman on the offensive line. His name's Chris Wilson. Whenever you have you have 4 veteran guys. So I'm going to have to say, just because I'm an offensive type coach, the guys have done a real nice job of bringing Chris along and pushing him and telling him what it's going to be like. We have a 9th grade wide receiver / D-back who's doing a really nice job for us. His name's Corey Joyce. The defensive backs have been great. During camp we'd have lunch and they would sit him on the board and along with him and a couple other of the younger defensive backs, and they would kind of show them the formations and what you have to do. I'm going to have to say the older guys have been great. The older guys have been great since first day of the weight room back in January. They've done everything I have said. They've been a terrific senior class so far.
So when you're preparing for week 1, when you're preparing for when you're going through your off season, how much of what you guys work on is sitting down, thinking about scheme, talking about that kind of stuff, watching film, and how much of it is out on the field? Okay, here's what you can do as far as the way you play the game to play better.
We like to do most of our stuff on the field. Coach French and the defense, they do a decent amount of board work, and the first thing that we are teachers. We're all teachers. We're all teachers here. We're all teachers. So we try to teach first, and some people like to see it written down and then go and do it. Some people just like to go out and see what's going on and then do it from there. So we just have to find the best way to get across our point and what we're trying to teach and what we're trying to do and go from there.
It sounds like you've put a lot of experience from the classroom out onto the football field. So it sounds like a good strategy for getting the season set. So we're looking forward to that first game. We're going up there to Montclair. It's a long drive, starting the season on the road. As far as this week of practice, how ready do you feel the guys are?
We're getting there. With the game on Saturday, we really have an extra day of practice, and that's good because last week, now that we have a scrimmage on Thursday, we really only have Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday of camp. Friday's kind of a watch the film, lift, a little bit of conditioning. It's not a whole lot of football, so it was real good that we're getting an extra day of practice. We can practice Friday, and then we'll get on the bus on Saturday morning and go there. We're getting ready. It's a difficult challenge that they pose. They kind of have a power run game, and then they kind of have a spread game with some really fast wide receivers that can run down the field. And defensively, we're kind of scheming for that a little bit. And offensively, they pretty much are what they are. They're a lot like our defense. That with their front 4, they like to keep the offensive linemen off the linebackers, and they kind of sit their defensive backs there, and no one gets behind them. And so defensively, they're a lot like us. Offensively, they're very explosive.
This is the Steve Wilmot Show. We'll be back with a little bit more in-depth look at that first Montclair game right after this for 1490 WBCB.
The ARIA 3B Orthopedic Institute is redefining care in Center City and South Jersey. And our 50,000 square foot location on ARIA Health's Bucks campus in Langhorne features private rooms, free parking, and nearby hotels. With over a century of experience, the world-class 3Bs, Doctors Booth, Bartolozzi, Balderston, and their partners personally guide you from treatment through recovery. For all your orthopedic needs, call 1-888-ORTHO-3B or visit aria3bortho.org. At the ARIA 3B Orthopedic Institute, you come first.
If you are looking for a car, where do you go? Faulkner Auto Group at 4427 Street Road in Trevose is where to go for the best deals in Bucks County for all your new pre-owned cars, trucks, or SUVs. Go to Faulkner Auto Group. It's always Faulkner, to be sure. Go online to faulknerautogroup.com. Just remember, it's Faulkner, to be sure, for all your new cars or trucks. 4427 Street Road in Trevose. Faulkner, to be sure.
Hi, Merrill Reese to tell you about our good friends at the Revere Restaurant Italiano in nearby Ewing Township at 802 River Road. I can tell you that from South Philadelphia to New York's Mulberry Street, there's no better Italian cuisine than that served at the Revere. Start your meal with one of their great appetizers or salads. Entrees include outstanding veal dishes, fresh seafood daily, excellent steaks and chops, homemade pasta dishes, daily specials, and much more. You can also enjoy their bar area, where on most weekends, entertainment is offered. The Revere also does off-premise catering and can accommodate private parties for any affair, including business functions. Call the Revere Restaurant Italiano for more information and reservations at 609-882-6365. 882-6365. The Revere Restaurant Italiano open Monday through Friday for lunch and 7 days for dinner at 802 River Road, right off the Wilbertha Road exit on Route 29. In nearby Ewing Township.
Don't forget, if you miss any of your local high school sports action, you can read all about it in tomorrow's edition of the Trentonian. For your complete local and national news 7 days a week, it's the Trentonian, or online at thetrentonian.com. The only newspaper serving Bucks, Burlington, and Mercer County 7 days a week, it's the Trentonian.
Welcome back to the Steve Wilmot Show with the head coach of the Neshaminy Redskins, Steve Wilmot. I'm Sean Lerman. As we get set for week one of the regular season, the Redskins going to travel up to Montclair, New Jersey to take on Montclair. And Coach, we talked a little bit in that last segment about their offense, their defense, and so let's get a little bit more in depth. Their offense, what type of scheme do they generally run?
They run the pistol, kind of like us. So offensively, they run a pistol. When they get into the greater than 5 yard type of thing, they spread it out, and they have two really, really fast wide receivers. So, they're always a threat downfield. But I guess they're a pistol offense like us. Coach French enjoyed kind of learning our terminology so he could put it to his defensive terminology. So, again, the pistol offense, a lot like us, very similar plays. And then defensively, like I said, they're kind of a 4-4 defense, kind of like we are.
Okay, so when you're dealing with a 4-4 defense, and I know you're an offensive guy, so you're scheming for that all week, getting ready for it. What are some things that you need to see out of your guys to handle that 4-4 defense?
Good tight end play. Good tight end play is important against the 4-4 defense. Some counter schemes, a little bit of formationing, because it is a very balanced defense. There's so many guys on that side, there's so many guys on that side, so you have to do a little bit of formation stuff to kind of find some weaknesses. But you just kind of look at what your strengths are, you look at what their strengths are, and then you kind of game plan from there.
So going into this season, it looks like one of the strengths of this team going to be that passing game for Neshaminy. Mason Jones over 1,000 yards passing last year. You mentioned Zach Treadway's had a really nice camp so far. Now, how do you as the coach make sure that everything goes well with the rest of the offense? You can probably, Mason's going to throw well, Zach's going to catch everything that goes his way. So how do you handle getting the rest of the offense prepared for this game?
Well, I think it comes down to the run game. You got to have a strong run game. I learned that very early on in my career. If your run game's clicking and you're doing well and you're ripping off runs, it's a lot easier to set up the pass game. So obviously we're a run team first. We'd like to establish the run. but we have a good plan B if that doesn't work.
Certainly a good plan B when you got Mason Jones out there. Now, a lot of guys, we've talked about this a couple of times before, about a lot of guys playing both sides of the ball. I imagine week one we'll be seeing some of that as well, but not everyone's necessarily in mid-season form yet. How are you going to manage playing time on both sides of the ball?
We're going to try to roll kids the best we can. I know defensively, they're rolling the defensive line pretty heavily. Offensively, we have backups for all the key positions, and when it comes down to it, I think I might have said this before, maybe even on the radio. When it comes down to it, defense is more important than offense. So if a kid needs some rest to cool down a little bit, to get an ice towel on his head, we'll rest him on defense, or we'll rest him on offense, so he can be out there full speed on defense. They have too many weapons to relax on defense at all.
All right, Coach, any first game jitters?
I guess, yeah. You think of everything that can go wrong, but then you think of everything that can go right, and sometimes you feel better. But we have a great group of kids, so I really feel confident, whatever happens, and we'll stick together as a team, but we're really trying to go up there and come out with a win.
All right, week one, you can hear it on WBCB Saturday. Neshaminy takes on Montclair. This has been the Steve Wilmot Show. He's head coach of the Neshaminy Redskins, Steve Wilmot. I'm Sean Lerman for 1490 WBCB.